Hey guys, welcome back to episode 9 of the Falcon Project on Calico's Garage. I've got the template for the steering column pass-through plate, I guess is what I'm calling it. I've got the template done and I've got it transferred to the metal and also have all of the holes marked with the center punch. So the next step is just going to be to cut this out. It's probably going to take a little bit of time because all I have to do that with is the angle grinder. So let's get to it.
Damn!
All right, that came out way better than I was expecting. So now the next step is to drill out these holes. And this is going to be cut out with the 1 7/8 hole saw, which is where the ball part is going to go through. So that'll fit right in there and then get screwed on with that. So let me go ahead and get those holes drilled. Okay, I've gone ahead and gotten all the other rib nuts installed, but for those of you who have never seen it, this is basically the tool here, and the rib nut you screw onto the front, and then you just stick it through the hole like that and pull these, and it's kind of like a rivet, so it squeezes the back and then kind of anchors it in there, and then you just unscrew it. There you go. You got a threaded hole ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and drill out the mounting holes for these in the plate, and I'm going to have to run to the hardware store to get some M8 bolts for these, and then I can go ahead and get it installed. Here we go. There's the finished plate, all drilled out and ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the car and see how it looks. we have a steering column. Take a look at that. So now I don't have anything tightened down or anything like that. It's just kind of in place. The next thing that I will need to do is get the seat mounted. That way I'll know how much of the column itself I will have to trim off to get it into the right position. And yeah, I think that's going to be the next thing, getting the seat installed. So let's move on to that. I couldn't help myself. I had to get the wheel on there to see what it's going to look like. And that is going to look really nice. It's definitely going to need to go in a little bit more. I'm going to guess probably maybe 4 inches, maybe to here. But yeah, I won't know that until I get the seat in. Then we can get, you know, all the definite measurements to make sure that it's at a good length and it's comfortable and everything. Yeah, it's really coming together and getting exciting. Okay, let's work on the seat. Hey, welcome back. So, did a little work on the seat and I got the legs mounted on the bottom and kind of set it in here to measure for the steering, and was trying to figure out how I was going to mount it. I was kind of hoping I could just mount it here, but as you can see, this has a big hump here and then this goes down, so it's not really the most level surface. So what I kind of came up with is I've got this 1x1 steel square tube. I'm thinking that, let me move this real quick. There we go. So if I attach it here and weld it, and then it will go straight across to the trans tunnel. I got this marked kind of where the middle is. And then if I trim kind of an arch on either side, this will sit down on top of here, so it'll stay flat all the way across, and then obviously it'll be cut and welded on that side too, and then of course welded here. So that will give it a pretty good solid foundation to mount to. I know that the NHRA rules say that you can't really just have it mounted to sheet metal, which is all this is. So by attaching the tube to the frame and to the trans tunnel, I think that will be sufficient. And then obviously I'll just have to do the same thing here in the back, another one here, and then those will just mount into the holes for the seat. Seat's not adjustable, but really once it's in there, I mean, as far as I know, I'm going to be the only one driving it, so I really don't need to adjust it. Just kind of get it set up for me, and then I'm good. So let me do some mathematicals and measurements and get this bar cut and see what I come up with. Be right back. I thought I was going to be able to try out my new chop saw, but I noticed it must have one of those transparent grinding discs, because I don't see one on there. Just took it out of the box. No disc. Blade sold separately. But why though? Why? I bought a cobalt miter saw. It came with the blade. Looks like I'll be doing it by hand. Okay, so this is what I came up with. I scratched the idea of having the bar kind of cut in the middle and go on all the way across. I got these welded in here pretty good, nice and solid, attached to the frame on this side, the trans tunnel on this side, so these are definitely not going to be going anywhere. So now I can go ahead and fit the seat up and drill the holes, and that should be it for the seat. So let's go ahead and do that. One Kirkey racing seat installed. Nice and solid. That ain't going anywhere except down the track really fast. I hope. All right, that is another big one checked off the list. In fact, hey, let's check it off the list. Let's see, there it is. Install seat. Done. Still quite a bit to do, but it's kind of like you can't do some things until you do other things. So it's kind of like once you get one thing done, you can like knock a whole bunch out at once. So that is where we are right now. Seat is installed. Let's see what it looks like sitting in it. Oh yeah. There we go. All right, so I'm definitely going to need to raise the steering wheel up, but I can adjust it here. I can go up, it's in the middle, so it can go lower or it can go up to the top. So that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. I'll put it about here, which is going to be about perfect. But this is starting to feel like something. I like it. It is about 9:40 and I'm tired. So I'm going to go take a shower and go to bed. So I'll see you tomorrow. Okay guys, it's the next day and I went ahead and raised the mount for the steering wheel up to the highest position, and that is spot on perfect. I also changed the seat mount to the middle position to kind of tilt it back a little bit. Between those two things, this feels perfect. I've got plenty of room for my feet to reach the pedals. The steering wheel's comfortable, so I think these are going to be the positions. Still not quite sure on the length of the steering column, whether it needs to go in. What I've heard or seen on YouTube as far as how to know if your steering wheel's in the right position is if you sit back in the seat, put your arms straight forward, and then drop them. If it hits right on your wrist like this, that's the right position. Going off of that, this can probably go in a little more. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, I think right about there is going to be where it's going to be. I think I'm going to go ahead and get this marked to where I need to cut it and do that. I'll take the seat out because the seat's pretty much done, ready to rock and roll. So I'm just going to go ahead and take it out so that it's not in the way for the next big step, which is going to be building the roll cage. That has been pretty much the biggest part that I don't want to say been dreading, but it's really been something at the back of my head, because it's obviously important. It's a safety feature, so it needs to be done right. But I've never done it before, although really I've never done any of this before, so I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out so far. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that the roll cage is the same and that it comes out as good as I hope it will. When I set the main hoop in a week or so ago, where it's going to go back here, or where it probably should go, I think it was too low. They fit the ground, but when they were sitting on the floor, there was probably like an inch or an inch and a half gap to the roof, and that roll bar needs to be like right up, tucked right up against, or maybe quarter of an inch off of the roof, and it definitely wasn't. So I thought I might have to bring it back onto this higher place, but I'm just worried that it will be too far away from the seat, because I think it has to be within a certain distance, like I've seen 6 inches off the back of the seat where the crossbar is going to go that will mount the seat belts and the seat mount. What I'm going to do is put the main hoop back in with the seat in its place right where it is, and see which of those 2 locations fits. Worst case, if I do have to bring it forward, I got some extra plate that I can build a little box to raise it up so that it fits. So I can put it either way. I've got the parts for it. It's just one way will require some extra fabrication to build that pedestal box, whereas the other one, I can just put the plate and mount it right to it. Let me go grab that main hoop and put it in here, and we'll see how it looks. So right about there is where it would be on the lower part. As you can see, there is a pretty big gap. That's almost 3 inches, which is not good. So I think I'm going to end up putting it up here. Try not to block your view. That's even possible. So in order to put it up here on the top part, I'm going to have to cut it. So that's not horrible. Let's put it back like that and see, hypothetically, say it's going to be right there. Against that, yes, it will. This back around. How far off is that? So what I'm looking for now is getting it centered in the car as best as possible to see, not height-wise or anything, but to see where the bar is actually going to end up in relation to the seat, because there's going to be a door bar that goes from, somewhere around here down like this, and I need it to clear the seat, obviously, otherwise we'll have to remount the seat further in. So I've got about a 1/2 inch and about a 1/2 inch. So that's where it is. Okay, we're good. You guys talk to yourselves too when you work? Well, I guess I'm talking to you, so I'm not technically talking to myself, but I'm the only one here, so it is kind of like I'm talking to myself, but I'm pretending that you're all, out here in the bleachers watching, hopefully cheering. Okay, so the next two things that I'm going to do are get the steering column and steering shaft cut to the right length. I'll probably weld in the quick release for the steering wheel and hook up the steering linkage to the rack and pinion. Once all that is done, I should be able to sit in that seat and turn the wheel, and the front suspension will actually move, which will be pretty awesome. And once that is done, I can start working on the roll cage. And I can't start working on it yet because there is a tool that I've ordered to help with figuring out the cut directions and angles and things like that. I think the company is Central or something like that. I'll put a link up here. And what it does is it slips over the tube, and it's got these little metal pins all the way around it. So once you get like this tube, let's say this is mounted, and I'm going to try to do this bar here. So you take that tool, you put it up against the thing, and the pins will conform to this shape. And then you take that off, slide it onto your tube. You can draw like the exact shape that it needs for the angle and everything to get it on here. I also have a tube notcher, which will help greatly, but I know that those aren't great at doing angles, like compound angles. So having that extra tool with the lines on there will really help to line things up, so I know exactly where to cut. So I think, what time is it? Yep, my lunch break is pretty much over, so I'm gonna call it for now, and I will catch back up with you guys a little bit later this afternoon. Right, here we go. Nice and welded up good. So now just grind that smooth, make it look pretty. There we go. That looks much better. Nice and smooth. Now let's work on the steering linkage. There we go. I've got the steering linkage tacked in. I don't have it fully welded yet. I just want to make sure everything is working as it should. So as I turn the steering wheel, and from inside you should see this move. So let's see if that works. Looks like a success to me. All right, guys, now that the steering linkage is complete, that's one step closer to the finished product. And that's going to be the end of this episode. If you liked what you saw, click the like button. If you really liked it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to be notified when I upload the next video. And also, in case I haven't mentioned it before, I do also have an Instagram account under the same name, Calico's Garage. And I just post some just kind of progress pictures of things that I've done in each episode. So if you're interested in checking that out, go ahead and do that. With that, I'm Chris. Thanks for watching the Falcon Project on Calico's Garage.